a lot of women get more ready for marriage than guys.
There are like 3 girls, so my mom was always like,
is that what you're going to do in your husband's house? Like that helps women to become, in terms of preparing your son for marriage. What are you doing? A lot of people should give themselves some level of treatment before they enter into marriage. Hello, Esther Oseji. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
It's been a while, right?
Correctly.
Oh, sorry. Do you realize that I'm still holding on to the past? I need to be updated. I need to update my contacts list. Oseji was your say your maiden name. Now, as a married woman that you are, the surname has definitely changed. So I believe it is S. Help me now, please.
Okay, I call Nse. Esther.
Yes. Sorry. Esther Nse. It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. On this podcast. Yeah. Esther is an ambitious lady. From when I knew her back, when we worked at the bank, I know she wrote a book. And when I saw you wrote a book, then I just felt like, this guy's a go-getter. She's definitely looking up to be a great person. Also, I know you are a finance analyst as well. Career-wise, you are a married woman. That's the status on this one, and you're also a mother, which is very interesting. And that's why I feel like you are fit for the conversation we're about to have. But I know I must have skipped some things. You want to just introduce yourself to us?
Okay, thank you, Daniel, for having me. I think you said the most important thing. I'm a data. I'm a finance professional. I'm a mom of 1. I'm married. I live in the UK.
Nice.
I used to work in Nigeria as a treasury operations officer. That's where we met. And it's been interesting.
She likes that career. I just told you that she's a career woman. She just like that.
But I'm also a family woman, right? So I pay attention to my family as well. So I don't ignore that part, which is quite important.
Yeah, that's really great. That's really great. Well done. And I see you're wearing a lot of caps. I know they say women are good at multitasking. So yeah, definitely multitasking in a couple ways. And that's why you're even a content creator. You didn't mention that part. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. I love to talk to people. That's why I'm on this show, right?
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, well done on multitasking and doing well at these things. Today we want to talk about character formation. I believe I reached out to you and I told you about character formation, but I'll give you a little bit of background to this. What I found is that in Christendom, and you're a Christian as well. I forgot to mention that. In Christendom, I find that a lot of some Christians, let me not say a lot, some Christians lack character because they expect that their being a Christian will make up for it. And I'll try to give an example. You can see a Christian who is not kind, or who is let's even bring it to the relationship context now. You meet, how all these things they say about, say, Christian sisters or Christian brothers, how they can tend to be romantic, stuff like that. You would be surprised that being romantic and all the sort of gestures you're looking out for are character skills that could have been built from childhood. Or for as an example, say a man is not really an homemaker, doesn't know how to cook, stuff like that. Little things like that are like, and that's just an example, like character skills that could have been developed from childhood. But most times we want to cover it under the umbrella of, Christian, that can take care of every other thing. Now, I also try to break this down to you further. See, a lot of the habits that Christians have tried to let go of are just characters that they need to work on. And you don't need to be a Christian to work on that character. If your upbringing or your childhood had dealt with those things well enough, you will not have to be dealing with that at adulthood. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. Do you have an idea what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So I hope I'm not being so vague, but I mean, it just gives so it's basically about character formation. I'm trying to distinguish character from spirituality, or say being a Christian now. You know, some things are just character. For example, there are some habits. They say somebody that smokes, for instance, and is giving life to Christ. You still have to learn some ways to break that habit. That is not necessarily spiritual. You just need to learn to break that habit. That's not really spiritual, because it's an habit that can be let go of. And guess what? A lot of people have broken free from some of all these seemingly sinful habits, not by becoming Christians. They've broken free from these habits just by learning to break away from characters. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Do you want to say something about it?
Yeah, you've said a lot of things already on the topic, so I'm just going to try to break it down. So I'll start with the fact that the family is the bedrock of the society. So whatever character traits you want to see in the family, just like in society, just like you said, we have to start from the family.
Yeah.
And it starts with the parents, how they groom the children, what kind of behavior they show, what kind of character they demonstrate. Because it's what the children see them do that they will emulate and start to practice. So it's fundamental that we are, and as parents, we are able to raise children in the right way. We teach them how to be kind. So when you see a child maybe beats the younger one, you say, no, don't do that. That's not how to be kind. Would you like it when somebody else beats you? So you have to train the child in the way that they should go. And you have to be present to do this, because they will go to school, they will go to other places where they will see different things where they are learning from. So if you don't give them the right, values, show them the right values, teach them the right way to live, they would learn different things from outside, and that would form part of the things that will form them. So it's important that we try to make sure that we are, raising children in the right way. And you mentioned something about somebody can be a Christian and still be smoking and all of that, because it's important that we are able to distinguish the different parts of man. Man is a spirit, has a soul, and lives in a body. So when you get born again, it's the spirit man that is, tuned with God, in tune with God. Your soul, which is the seat of knowledge, understanding, and emotions, has to be, transformed. And that comes to mind with, what comes to mind is, what are you feeding your mind with? That's why as a Christian, they'll tell you, read the Bible, read so many things that can change you, spend more time with God, spend more time with like-minded people that can brush your skills, brush your values, brush the things that you believe in. That person that is a smoker was a smoker before he gave his life to Christ. He's not going to quit it immediately. So he has to now sit in the presence of God so that God can transform him. And this can actually work by, if you don't want to use the biblical way, they will tell you, okay, don't avoid where people are smoking, because if you go there, you'll be triggered. You would want to smoke. Avoid people that will or things that will remind you of that habit. Avoid so many things like that. But in Christian, it will tell you, spend more time in the presence of God, because the more you spend more time in the presence of God, in worship, in prayers, your mind becomes consumed with that kind of activity. So you kind of let go of the bad character. When it comes to character formation, back to what you said, it's that with, little pieces, and children can be molded into what we want them to see in the future. So it's not and there's no early age for you to start that. Even from when they are infants, you can start telling them the right thing, speaking over them, telling them the right words, and the kind of words that you use at home would, go a long way in the kind of words they use. So if you start from a very, young age, and the child is molded, and the child can also see the right character that you have, you've done 80% of the work, because the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart. So it's not now for you, as long as you've done your part, at least you can wash your hands and say, oh, I've done my best. I hope this child turns out well. So it begins with a home, like you said.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I like that you've also brought it back to talking about kids. So I started off talking about adults and how they try to break free from habits, but apparently this thing starts from childhood. So I'm curious, and this is what informs this conversation. When when parents raise kids, you're already in that phase. Do you face the dilemma of, should you be focusing on teaching this child character, or should I be teaching this person Christian ways? Because I grew up in a Christian family, and I would say my parents were largely very focused on us imbibing Christian values. And a lot of Christian values that you imbibe somehow takes care of some character skills, but not but somehow it doesn't necessarily focus on some specific things, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So at childhood, a child does not necessarily understand the full grasp of the gospel. He might just know how to sing in church, all this sort of basic things, but as you grow older and get more mature, that you would understand that, oh, this thing I've learned so far, this is actually what it means. You know what I'm saying? So my question is, do you think parents should focus, especially Christian parents, should they focus on helping their kids have build character skills, or focus on just teaching them Christian ways? Because at the end of the day, you can just learn how to be a Christian and then be a pretender. Why do you think a lot of pastors' kids turn out to be? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to impose some things in their head at childhood that they don't really are not grasping. So the parents are focusing on a lot of spiritual things. Learn is go to church, yeah, teaching them the Christian ways, and then they feel like to take care of a lot of other character skills, like say learning how to be nice, how to be cautious, how to treat a woman, how to all those sort of basic things, and then doesn't take care of those things, but then they lose their kids at the end of the day. So do you think parents should really focus on the character skills, or they should dwell so much on just making their children at infant age learn the Christian ways? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, but I think it's all encompassing. But of course, there were parents made a mistake of focusing on, you must know the Lord, you must know the Lord,
Yes,
because they didn't want us to be wayward. But I think it's all encompassing. Like, you have to look at it from all angles.
Yeah.
And Christianity actually teaches you about a lot of things about life. And one of the fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, patience, and those are some good values that we can pass on to our children. So I think even when you need to teach the child about your Christian faith and all of that, it's just so that you have brought them well in the way of the Lord, because they will still have to make the decision on whether they want to serve God or not. So you cannot force the religion or the belief on them. You can only tell them as much as they should know, and then they would make a decision. Because even though most of us grew up in church, there was a time when we now finally said, okay, I want to serve God.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a time when you have to make that decision that I want to serve God. So it starts with, what Christian values, or what values do you want to emulate as a whole? What do you want to be known for? If you want to say, okay, we want to be known as kind people, it means that even if there's just one meat in the pot, we would not, the person that goes to the pot and say one meat, will not just eat it and forget about every other person. You'd be like, okay, has somebody else eating? Okay, is this the last meat? Is this for me? So that way you are being considerate. You're not just considering your selfish interests or your selfish wants. So it depends on, what I feel is that parents should, focus on every aspect of a child's life. Their spiritual aspect, very, very important. Their soul, developing them to be mature, to be independent. And the kind of children that we're raising these days, they are not like we, the millennials, like the Gen Zs. I think Gen Zs now, Gen Alpha, I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
They will ask questions. Like, I teach children in church, both teenagers and younger children. And if you tell them sit down, they'll say, why should I sit down? I want to go outside. So you have to give them context. During our day, they'll say, you must go to church, you must tie your hair, you must wear certain clothes. Like, they didn't give us context. And we did not really ask questions because we're not taught how to ask questions. But these days, these children want to understand why you want them to do what they need to do. So if you don't explain to them, like, in a very convincing manner, they would not believe you. And that's what happens, that they will go outside and believe somebody else that tells them to do something else. So
thank you. Yeah. Okay. Are you done? Sorry, I felt like
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I feel like we can teach them some character skills that are, of course, based on biblical principles, but it should be all encompassing, like you said. It should be all encompassing. You can teach them some things about the gospel, and you teach them a lot of character basic things, like say how to treat a woman and how to treat a stranger or a visitor also. And that brings us to a relationship conversation now. A lot of women growing up, we feel like a lot of women were more prepared for their husband's house. And I think this is kind of popular with African women. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm sure a lot of times your upbringing, your parents would have said stuff like, is that what you're going to do in your husband's house?
That's my mom.
You get what I'm saying? So I feel like I don't know. I think it's more of an African thing, and that those things are emphasized more with the girls than the guys. You don't hear them saying, "Is that what you're going to do in your wife's house, or when you get married?" Stuff like that.
He's in
So I feel
charge.
like that helps women to become prepared for marriage faster than men. Do you believe? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that because I also experienced the same way. Like growing up, let me just say I'm not the very dedicated kind of person that wants to be involved in everything domestic. And I had an elder sister, which made it a lot easier because I had an elder sister. She grew up so fast. She became the mom of the home, always cooking, cleaning, and the rest of them. And I was just like be following her behind. Sometimes I don't want to do anything. So my mom would always like talk to me like, you would not, is this how you want to like behave? Yeah, we need to train you up in the right way. So I had a lot of issues like that when it comes to washing clothes, although anything domestic, I did not like doing it. And as I grew older, maybe let's say I was in my above 18, 20, I would tell my mom that I am not going to stress myself this way. I'm going to outsource most of the things that I don't think that this is what I'm called to do, to always be cleaning and cooking and all of that. I don't think that this is what women should be doing. But I knew that my mommy, focused a lot on all of us. We had like three girls. So my mom was always like, we need to teach you how to cook well, how to, clean the house, how to be a good homemaker. She was very, very keen on that. Like she didn't want us to like, not not be good wives in quotes. But for my brother, okay, so I had an elder brother before my sister. Yeah, he grew up fast as well because he had to learn a lot of things because he was the first. But after a while, the ball shifted from my brother to my sister. It wasn't too long. Maybe my sister became like maybe say 10.
Mm.
She started doing most of the things while we like left him alone. So I would say that maybe most of the emphasis was actually on the female child because
Yeah.
I think it's what society says that the female child has to be raised properly so that she can be a good wife to her husband.
You get
So
what
I
I'm
think
saying?
it's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so I
I feel
think
like
it's important.
yeah, there's been a lot of focus on the female gender, and that's why it always looks as if a lot of women get more ready for marriage than guys. I would say in your journey to getting married, what was your encounter with the men you met on the way? Like, do you feel like you met a lot of men that were not ready for marriage, or a lot of men that were just not prepared? Do you want to share something about that?
Yeah, I think men have commitment issues. Most men have. Oh, you see, most of the men I met have commitment
Okay,
issues.
nice.
And it starts with there's the age factor. Because when
Mm.
I started dating, I was almost dating my age mate and all of that. And one of the things my mom said was that men will not get ready for marriage when you're ready. You're a woman, this biological clock. You have to, go for someone older than you so that when you're ready, the person's also ready. So that was like a
Mm.
huge factor. But I also think about commitment. Or let me just say, men are not really, most of the men are not really prepared for marriage. Before they start thinking about marriage, they have to be financially comfortable. They have to ensure that maybe their career, they have a stable career. They have a good place to live so that when they want to bring a woman to the house, they are, proud of where they live and all of that. So a lot of emphasis on financial freedom. Most men want to be really comfortable before they think about bringing a woman. When you meet a man who is thinking about how to make more money, there is a woman who is thinking about how to get married, you can see that there's a disconnect. The man is focusing more on, making more money, even though he thinks about getting married, but not as fast as the woman wants to get married. So the woman is ready to get married because the society will tell you when you're 24, you need to quickly get married so that you can have children on time and avoid any child related, issue. So the man is thinking about making money and the woman is thinking about getting married. So she's maybe putting a little bit of pressure on the man to, ask the big question, ask me out, ask me to marry you. And the man is not
Right.
thinking about it yet because he's not even ready. He's not financially stable.
Mm.
So he's
Yeah.
not thinking about settling down, having children. Maybe he still just wants to like, well, of course, he loves the idea of a relationship, having a woman who supports him. So that way he doesn't even want to be single. But he's not looking at it he's looking at it more from the long term view than the short term. So that
Okay. Oh,
yeah, we're back. No, the long term perspective, even though he has marriage in mind,
yeah.
he's not looking to get, especially depending on the age you meet the man anyway. But most times he's thinking about, okay, let me check out this lady. Let me see if she meets the qualities that I
Okay.
want and all of
Okay.
that, then
Okay.
I can maybe later think about getting married to her in the future. So it's not like he's coming in immediately to get married. Before you meet a man that is just meeting you and just wants to get married to you, maybe he has made up his mind, he has programmed his mind that, okay, yes, I am ready for marriage.
Yeah. Let me digress from that a bit. Thank you. So, if you look back at things, do you think that the way women are prepared for marriage by their parents growing up, do you think anything should be done differently for men today, like from the home family setting? Just the way they put the consciousness in every woman, prepare for your husband's house and all that stuff. And the woman is always preparing, right from the way she cooks in the kitchen to the way she handles visitors that come to the house. Do you think anything should be done for men based on based off your observation of men generally? Do you think men should be prepared in a certain type of way? What do you think?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree with you, but I also think it's the orientation because women have been told that if you leave your husband's house and you come home, it's a shame. Like many women, take joy and pride in being, in their husband's house. So the moment you think about, oh, if you do not make a good wife, you have to return back to your father's house. The shame of coming back make women to want to like prepare adequately for marriage. But there is no shame in a man leaving his marriage. Like he can always find another woman.
Nah, it depends on
Yeah.
the kind of man, though.
So nobody will like, oh, he's a divorcee. Like there's no stigma on a divorcee or maybe a widower. Like there's no stigma. Society do not place that kind of stigma on them. So we need to start reorientation that men need to be good men. They need to be present fathers, present husbands. They need to treat women right. And women also need to, learn all the godly virtues and good virtues that is required of being a good wife and mother. So we need to balance it. And we need to also remove the stigma that a woman who leaves, her marriage, maybe for, negative reasons like maybe abusive husband, he's domestically abusing her, emotionally abusing her, has not, lost it in life, that she can still, be functional, she can still fulfill purpose, she can still be a perfect woman, not even getting married or leaving her marriage. So if that stigma is taken away, then that would also help women. But of course, we don't even want women to leave marriages, right? We just want them to have better husbands so that that balance will always be there. Yes, so we need orientation for both the boy child, the girl child, telling them how beautiful the marriage institution is, such that both of them are going prepared and they want to make it work. They're not just there to, run out when things are not going on well. If there are character flaws, they want to work on it, both the man, both the woman, and to make sure that the marriage institution is honored, is, an institution that many people want to, come in.
All right, thank you. Let me ask this question. I was going to make it my final question to throw at you, but it feels like I want to draw it now. And the question is, I know you have a child, right? You have a son, to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
First thing. Now the question is, when in terms of preparing your son for marriage, what would you do, or what are you doing? And do you
Oh,
think,
what am I doing? He's just 3 years
yeah,
old.
I mean, to make him, I mean, do you think you should be prepared for marriage at his tender age in any way? If it was a girl, for instance, you probably begin to look at right from infancy, parents are already putting that consciousness in the female child. Do you think you want to do anything about your son to make him a reasonable man in society? Who is of good character? To any woman you meet along the way. Is there anything you're consciously doing about that? And I know that this is like a pressure-based question. I'm not
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to
I think,
put pressure
yeah,
on you.
thank you for
And
asking. Thank you for
yeah,
asking that. That's really beautiful. But I think responsibility is key. That would be what I want to do. I want to instill responsibility in every of my child. Whether it's a boy child, whether it's a girl child, you have to be responsible. And one beautiful thing that I'm enjoying on my marriage is that my husband is a kind person, he's responsible. So I think that is already a character that he can emulate. He can look up to
mm,
his father and say, I want to be like my father.
mm,
Every time I call my in-laws, I used to praise his mom and his dad that they actually raised him well. Like he knows how to do everything when it comes to, the chores. You don't have to like be telling him, okay, do this, do this. He just comes in when he needs to do them and he supports. And that is really beautiful. So he already has somebody to look up to. If he sees that daddy is always like helping mom in the kitchen, dad
Yeah.
makes food when he wants to make food. Like
Mm.
it doesn't have to only be mom in the kitchen. That's already something he's emulating. And sometimes my husband just comes back home, he's just hugging me, and my son is running to come and be in the center. Like it can't just be you, mom, dad hugging mom. I need to also get this hug. So he's already saying the lovely, which is helping to shape his mind. That is really good. But responsibility is key, and it might be a little bit difficult here because here you have almost everything at your fingertips. There's the
Yeah.
dishwasher that does the dishes. There's washing
Mm.
machine and dryer that does the
Mm.
clothes. And there's
Mhm.
Hoover that just cleans the house. So
Mhm.
life is a little bit easier here compared to where we're coming from. So it might be a bit difficult to, instill that responsibility. But I'm not going to like, when he's of age, I'm not going to like, make sure that he doesn't know what he needs to do. Even right now, when I'm cooking, I make sure that he's in the kitchen. Not because
Nice.
he's going to help me with anything, but at least he's seeing what I'm doing. He's
Right.
just
Right.
watching
Right.
mom. So that's really a good thing. And when he's of age, of course, even if it means putting the dishes in the dishwasher, he's going to do that. If it means
Mhm.
sorting out his clothes, the ones that are dirty, he's going to do that so that he'll be responsible even in society. But I think the home is already, teaching him a lot of things, how he sees us relate to each other, how we welcome other people to our home, the kind of treatment we give, the way we talk to each other, the fact that we don't shout, he's already learning a lot that he can, help him to be a better person when he's married. So I think it's not going to be gender specific. I'm going to make sure that my children are both responsible and that, they replicate a beautiful home when they're of age.
I like the way you said my children are going to be more responsible. You should were expecting a baby girl. So. Anyways, that's
Of
just by the
course.
way, Sha. But this conversation is really important, and a lot of people might not see the importance. It's important because a lot of women are complaining about men today, the kind of men in society, they are not eligible for marriage, or this and that. And maybe some men are also complaining about women in some regard as well. But we fail to recognize that a lot of these things starts from the home. A lot of these things starts from upbringing. A lot of these things starts from character formation at childhood. And that's why I feel like this conversation is very, very important. I want more people to get into this conversation to understand that character formation is very, very key, and there's a certain age that we all form some basic characters, and it's at, I think, at childhood. Anything before the teenage years, we tend to form such character, and it's easy for us to imbibe some characters easily at that age, such that when you grow older, you're fighting smaller devils, and all those sort of things.
Yeah. I
And
think
that's why, yeah. So and that's why I've had this conversation, and I don't want to extend it further, but I want to believe that it has provoked so interest in the hearts of those who have listened to it. But I want you to give your final words on this topic, or anything I've failed to touch so far.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me today. And what I just want to say is that children are different. The fact that three children, grew up in a godly home where they saw a lot of good character does not mean that all the children will turn out the same way. So we need to
Definitely,
give grace to different children and treat them
definitely,
uniquely, and
definitely.
make sure that we are, we are teaching them the right, Christian values. We're teaching them how to be responsible. We are showing them because it's not about saying, I know a lot of parents, they tell their children do this, but when it comes to action, they do the reverse, they do the opposite. That's not
Mm.
the best way to teach children. So it's important that what we are telling them is also what we are showing. So if you're showing them the right thing, they're seeing it themselves, they will also grow up to be like that. But even if a child doesn't turn out the way you want them to turn out, the best you can do is to pray for them, because a lot of the things I learned growing up, I wouldn't say that, yeah, they fought part of me, but there was a time when I had to make a decision. Okay, this is what I want to do. This is the path that I would take from my home, from my family home, and this is the one I'm going to take. I'm going to remove, because it's not everything I learned that I want to like incorporate into my life, because some of them were not, good enough for me. So you need to like, and understand that children are unique. They will not all turn out the same way, but you can pray for them to, be good people in the future. But you have to show them. It is
Mm-hmm.
whatever you show them. The background has a lot of role to play, because I have a couple of friends that have, that in some sort of shaky marriages. When I look at when I try to, dig deeper, what I
Mm.
see is that is the foundation, the background that these people are
Good
coming
job.
from is what is affecting them. So if you can, tackle it from the grassroots, make sure that we are showing our children, the right way. And if you grow up from a background that was not, pleasant, was not great, I think you have to consciously make that decision that, okay, this is how I want to turn out. This is the kind of marriage I want to have. These are the kind of children I want to have. You have to be intentional. And once you make that intentional decision, you are reading the appropriate books. I think I didn't mention it. Women nowadays in relationship seminars, you hardly see men. They're always the one praying for a good husband. They're always the one, praying for a better home. So if men can start attending relationship seminars, listen to podcasts like this, that would really help them follow the right mentors and submit themselves to discipleship, mentorship. That would really help them to build godly homes, good characters, and also transfer that to their children.
Yeah, that's robust. Thank you very much. And it's funny how we are recycling. Like you said, these people that you said have shaky marriages that you know of, it's straight to the foundation. So the question is, there will just always be a recycle of bad marriages, especially when you don't treat yourself before you now enter into marriage. So I think a lot of people should give themselves some level of treatment before they enter into marriage. Treat yourself of all those characters that you've developed wrongly or that you imbibed wrongly, that you're not supposed to imbibe and all those sorts, before you get into marriage. And I feel like that's like, that way you will not be recycling the same set of same kinds of human society. You have a more refined version of children compared to who you became or who your parents were.
I agree.
It shows that there's a lot of work that also needs to be done. So that's to say that those who feel like they've imbibed some characters and they're about to get married and they feel like they're scared that their kids might have the same thing, should also take some time to work on those things before they get into marriage, so that they don't recycle the same thing in society again. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm sure there's definitely a lot of, you've shared you shared it from an experienced standpoint as a mother that you are, and I'm happy that you're also very conscious of these things as you raise your son. I believe that we would have follow-up conversations on this because it's actually a very, very robust topic. Thanks for your time. As a busy mom that you are, thanks for giving me a bit of your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your platform as well. It was really interesting, having this conversation with you.
Yeah, by the way, Esther Oseji, do you want to tell them about you have a YouTube channel as well?
Yeah.
So I called you Oseji again.
You called me Oseji. No, it's not your fault. Like, that's what you made me all the life. It's okay.
So do you want to tell us about your...
It's okay. Okay, my YouTube channel is Esther Speaks. So if you want to search at me on YouTube,
okay, I'm just going to put it. I'll put it as a caption.
Okay, you're going to put that. Okay, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, you can spell it out. You're spelling it out.
Okay, ESSY. For my name is Esther. So ESSY and then Speaks. SPEAKS. Yeah. So I talk about faith, love, purpose, and everyday life. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. And what's the name of the book you wrote again? Is it still on sale?
Yeah, The Angel in You. I think I have the soft copy now. I'm not sure I still have the hard copy, except perhaps like reprint. So if you want the copy, it's all about inspiring you to be the best person that you can ever be on earth. So it's titled The Angel in You. A is an acronym for A, analytical, N, novel, G, God, E, excellent, and L, loving. So it means that every human being have these characters and we can refine it and develop it so that we can be the best version of ourselves.
All right. Thank you very much. There's a link to, I'll definitely also share the link to the book, to purchase book, in the description as well, so you can check out for it. So guys, thank you very much for joining this episode podcast. And if you think there's any topic that we are leaving out, we've not talked about, I want you to also share with us in the comment section so that we can bring up people to have these conversations with. So till the next episode. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.